Hello there, it's me, Sari, here again, and today I'm here with a sort of a release video of new stamps that Vilda Stamps in Sweden is going to release. There will be 4 different sets. I'm not quite sure which ones belong together, but I'm thinking that this one and this one are separate. And then perhaps these 3 are together, and perhaps this is the final one. I'm not sure, because I haven't really seen the labels yet. But I have gotten the stamps and I have started playing around with them, and I'm having sort of a fun time. So what I did make a sort of a front page for my Stampendous stamp storage container. It is a folder like this out of plastic, and these actually come in 3 depths. So this is the thinnest one, then there is a thicker one, and even the thickest one, of course. And in this case the stamps are all in English, but you could of course use these even if you are with any kind of a language really. And the Merry Christmas stamp is really nice as well as the other, so I'm thinking these 2 are in the same set. And then there is a set of snowflakes there, which you could do some collage stamping with perhaps, or just to make a nice looking background. So let's see what I have come up with so far. I just started yesterday really, because I haven't really had that much time. But let's see. I did fall in love with the sort of rugged star stamp there, and I wanted to combine it with those snowflake stamps, and this is the result. I did go for some really pale inks this time. Memories Baby Blue, and that is the background stamp there. And then I layered stamped with Hero Art's Soft Pool, and it turned out like that. I was thinking that it was going to be a little bit more turquoise, but it didn't turn out like that. But in the end it really does look nice, I think. So what I did next was I die cut this paper out of with a sort of a stitch frame, or stitch rectangle, I'm sorry, stitched square die, and I stamped the Merry Christmas text stamp there. And I also put on some rhinestones on those snowflakes, just to give it a sort of a complete look. And to mat this one off, I just used some white cardboard paper or corrugated cardboard, and I put it on a white cardstock or a card base like this, and it's going to stand on its own like this, I'm hoping. And what I did more was just to take a bigger envelope and did some stamping with the same colors and the same stamp motifs, so it would be cohesive and nice looking when I'm sending it to somebody. And then we come to the next stamp, and I did have some fun trying using the square stamps, and I wanted to give it a go with different kinds of ink pads, or perhaps even distress paint, just to see how far the color itself stretches, and sort of to make myself a color swatch, so I know how much ink I need to remove before I get sort of this look, or perhaps even this look. The one thing you need to think about when you are working with solid stamps, let me see if I can find it for you here, is that since the surface is completely solid, there isn't any kind of patterns or anything, it does take quite a lot of ink when you're putting it there. And you also have to pay attention to, let's see if I can show it to you like this. You know, you are getting streaks and marks after your ink pad, so you really need to be patient, or just pay attention to what you are doing, or how hard you are pressing the ink pad there in the end, so you have a sort of a smooth look before you are going to do your stamping. Let's see if I could do a bit of this, and I'm going to dare to do it on this piece of paper here. And just to see, I'm just going to press it down like that, and I'm making sure that I'm giving it equal amount of pressure on both, on all 4 of them. If I'm going to go ahead and just try to make a second generation stamp there, you can see that I didn't add that much ink. So in this case, I don't have that much ink to wipe away. And that's a good thing, of course, but because one more good thing about having solid stamps is that they are easy to clean, since the ink doesn't stick to any sort of crevices or anything like that. So it's really easy to just wipe it away. You could go for a baby wipe or a wet wipe or something, and there you have it, sort of as a new stamp, ready to get started with yet once more. So let me go back to the fact that I did use the different kinds of inks. On this swatch I used Distress ink, and I used the color Festive Berries, and you can see that it's a really strong, lovely red color. The second imprint does look like that, and I didn't pay attention to how much pressure I was giving it there, but since I am a person that likes the sort of a grungy look, I really like that one. This one perhaps does have a little bit too much white, but that one is alright in my book. Then I come to the third generation and the fourth, and you can see that there isn't that much of a difference between the third and the fourth generations. You can see that the Distress ink really stretches quite far. I'm sure I could have gotten even a fifth imprint there if I had what I wanted to. So let's not dismiss the Distress inks there. Then I went ahead using an ink pad from Lawn Fawn, and I just took a colour, and this is Freshly Cut Grass Lawn Fawn ink. And you can see it's almost the same thing there. I didn't pay too much attention to how I was stamping, but here you can see there's a bigger difference in the hue of how far the color stretches. So I'm thinking that 2 imprints could be really nice. If you are going for a really soft and pastel look, perhaps you could go for the third. I'm not sure the fourth one really makes me happy in that case. Then let's see, and then I went ahead with VersaFine, because that was the thing that I thought about when I had stamped it first with, let's say, I think it was Archival ink or something, and I thought I really need to go with the VersaFine, because I know that that's a color that really stretches. And as you can see, Versacolor Deep Lagoon, it goes on really strongly there. The second imprint is a really lovely blue hue, and you can see that there's a really nice cohesion with those 3 colors. And if you are going for a pastel look, I would absolutely recommend you to go for the 4th generation stamped image there. So it's a really nice stamp ink to work with. Then I played around with Memento Lux. It's an ink pad, really useful for mixed media project and everything. It's waterproof, and as you can see, the first imprint is really nice, rich cocoa is the color. The second is nice, and then you're getting really soft and muted colors there. And the final one, I did go for Distress Paint. Peacock Feathers is this color, and as you can see, this one turned out really nice. I really like this sort of grungy effect, and then it got paler really quickly, so you can get 2 imprints with the Distress Paint, but it's nice to be able to use your acrylic paints to stamp with, I think. So let's see, I did take a piece of paper and I stamped it 4 times, as I did on the first one. So you can see that this is the first one, and I did some die cutting with the stitched square die there. And then I did the second one, the same size, and I just stamped the Merry Christmas statement in the center there. And then I used a bigger stitched rect square die there, and I used it for the 3rd and 4th generation stamped images. And I sort of like these as well, because if you are looking for a really pastel-y and nice looking and muted sort of thing, you could go for this. And let's see, I have to show you the circle stamp as well. It's a sort of grungy looking circle, and I did make a sort of a paper that I then cut in half with those dies actually. And I did the same thing, I matted it on a white cardboard or corrugated cardboard piece of paper, and I put it on craft coloured cardstock, and I die cut a word out of some sort of a carton. I did run it through several times. In this case it's a Swedish statement that says Merry Christmas, God Jul in Swedish, and I did put some glitter on top and I let it dry by itself. So there is something else happening on this sort of a simple and clean card. And I do have another one to go for later projects if I want to. And the thing that I haven't really had the time to do any work on is actually the text background stamp. And you could go really easily with this one. You could actually just stamp it in whatever color you want, preferably a waterproof ink. And then you could do a stain splot. Distress ink also have stain ink, which is a liquid form of a distress ink. You could just make it wet on a craft surface like that, and then just splash it away, and you can have a really funky looking card. Easy peasy, doesn't take long at all. All you have to do is just let it dry, or perhaps speed up the process with your heat gun. And then you could just mount it on your card base and just have some fun, perhaps with a die cut word, or even do some stamping. I'm thinking a die cut word could be nice to do with that technique. Of course, you could just stamp it on a white piece of paper, work with some distress ink, color it in, perhaps in a sort of vintage photo, brownish sort of hue, and then you could just die cut the shape and go work ahead from that. So that's it from me when it comes to stamps from Vilda Stamps. They will be released this Saturday. Today is the 29th, I think. So tomorrow is 30th and it's September, so it must be the 1st of October. So 1st of October 2016, these lovely Christmas themed stamps from Vilda Stamps will be released in their web shop, and mostly, I'm sure, in a lot of Swedish scrapbooking stores, perhaps even some ones in England. Be on the lookout and go to their homepage just to see where you can find your stamps. I'm going to sign off right now. I hope you have a splendid time and start making your Christmas cards really soon, because before you know it, it's October, November, and my God, December. So not just sort of short of 3 months, and then you have to be ready to send your cards. 2.5 months, let's say. I'm going to sign off right now. Bye-bye.